And when you talk about proportion, there's clearly, I'm interested in your whole career and in terms of, have there been a few magic moments that have really been special to you? Because, as you say, we don't want to be a slave just for work at work's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one piece of really great advice I was given one piece of great advice I was given early on in my career was around, 100% of the shots you don't take won't go in. And that if you're given opportunities to venture far afield or to do a different type of role that you think, wow, I don't have the experience or knowledge or competencies to do this, take a risk. Pretty much, I think if you do that, the shot is more likely to go in. It hasn't always done so. I wouldn't like to say that, but I really followed that advice. And there were a couple of occasions where I thought, do I really want to move to Asia at this time? Does it feel right? And guess what? It kind of works out. So take a risk. 100% of the shots you don't take certainly won't go in.
Yeah.
I think in terms of sort of moments that you remember and you think, boy, I've learned a lot from this. I was asked as part of my Asia experiences to oversee a Korean management team. Korea has its own very special cultural elements, and I think if you can connect and engage and inspire a Korean team as a female Westerner, I think you can start to believe that some of your engagement skills might be kind of out there. And I remember that whole period thinking, on days, I'm losing the will to live here. I should just, give up and go and do something much, much easier. And then at the end of that quest, believing this has been worth it. You have learned so much about the differences, what makes people tick. You have not allowed those things to stop you persisting. And it was a real kind of magic moment for me.
Great. You talked then about a quest. What advice would you give to aspiring CEOs for their quest to be a CEO?
Yeah, I think it's very important that your opinion counts to you. So I think very often younger people are massively interested in what other people think. And I believe it's important to get 360 feedback, to gather input. But I think looking in the mirror and saying, can you do this, Harriet? Can you really, do you believe you can? That opinion and that drive is immensely important. Never underestimate it. The piece about 100% of the shots you don't take. So take those risks. Do those kind of exceptional things that differentiate yourself. In business, I'm a great believer in competitive differentiation. What makes you different? And I think you need to think as an aspiring CEO, what makes me different? Working and leading businesses and cultures in 4 different continents. Managing and leading businesses at different stages of their evolution and development. Doing 28 acquisitions, is that differentiating? And I think you need to think about that. Not have a 20-year plan, but link back to risk. Don't just do the conventional, and don't just do what the so-called bigger people, like I'm doing now, say. Believe in yourself.
So finally, if we're thinking about the future and in the world that we've talked about being global and connected and more socially responsible, what are some of the qualities you think what are the secrets to being a great CEO in the future?
I think it's hugely important to be well. I mean, I think health in any environment, and I think we are responsible in very large part in terms of what we eat and drink and our exercise. And often, being a very busy CEO seems to be mutually exclusive with great well-being. So I think well-being in any environment, in any time, in any culture is hugely important. I think that it's very important to be putting yourself out there. What are the issues of the future? Like talking now about 3.0 and about information flows and about disruptive technologies, really spending time in learning environments, whether it be, Harvard or Stanford or Aspen, wherever it may be, learning and thinking. I started to do something recently. It dawned on me that I just don't have thinking time. There's my BlackBerry, my PC, my phone. When do I think? And I'm not supposed to think when I'm doing yoga, and so it couldn't come into that space. And I've started walking to the station, which is about 35 minutes from my house, just so I can think. So thinking about things with new information, thinking about the world in which we may live, thinking about what are the biggest risks in the world and how does that affect our business. I think our job is to be considering those issues and coming up early with some answers. You may not be right, but the very fact you're thinking about them and modeling them in is hugely important.
Okay. And you're one of a relatively small crop of successful female chief executives. Any thoughts on that going forward into the future?
A crop of female executives, genetically modified for the role, I tease. I think it's very important that women in my position and others are connecting with all people, regardless of their age, their sex, their color, their creed, their sexuality, about what, fun and what excitement it is to run businesses, and encouraging more young people to think about that and to sort of channel their careers in that direction. I think it is important. I think having confidence and belief in yourself, I think it's very important for us women not to take ourselves too seriously and to kind of lighten up a little and not think everything is our kind of job to fix.
Because a lot of CEOs struggle with the fun side.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of responsibility with the job, but do you have time to sort of let your hair down, have a bit of fun along the way?
Well, I think my yoga and my reading, I'm very, as I've said before, committed within the family, and we do a lot of stuff together. Having teenagers, it's kind of hard to take yourself too seriously, and I think back to this point of balance. I am not taking out people's hearts, and I think there are wonderful people who do that, and I admire them hugely. But I'm running a business where my job is to get great shareholder returns, create a super environment, and there's plenty of time to do other really fun things. I think people are inspired by and engaged by people who are enjoying their lives. And if you're not manifesting that, and it's hard to hide it if you're not happy, it shows. So I think there's plenty of ways to have fun.
As usual, Harriet, I knew we'd enjoy this interview, and thanks again for making the time and for your points.
I think this is a great project, so I've been happy to give a few words.
Okay, thanks, Harriet.